Hello everyone and welcome to episode 26 of the WCW 2000 save here on TEW IX. We're getting right into Nitro again. It's going to be another fairly short episode since we're just doing Nitro these days. And we're building towards the Great American Bash. We've got the tag title situation, we've got the the US title tournament. We've got a title main event tonight for the world title. It's going to be a pretty big show, hopefully, and hopefully it's going to be another good one. And it starts off pretty well. It gets a 66, so we can't just spam the Brett promos, unfortunately. But Brett once again opens the show and says, we've got a big night ahead of us here in WCW. DDP versus Sting for the world title in your main event, and DDP will also be in action in the opener, taking on Kidman, once Brett shuts up and gets out of the ring, that is. He says, it seems like the tournament has been a good one so far for the US title, and hopefully the crowd agree. So why not do another one for the tag titles? We've got all these tag teams here in WCW. Let's just do another tournament. The crowd approve as Brett announces the brackets for the tournament, which you will see some point, which will begin next week on Nitro. We will not be starting that this week just because we've got a few matches booked already. 66 overall is pretty good, and the opener is very good. It's a 66 overall as Diamond Dallas Page defeats Billy Kidman following botched interference from Torrie Wilson. During the match, we also had Rey Mysterio distract Kidman. Now, it's worded very strangely, but how I'm thinking this works is Torrie's trying to interfere. Rey comes down to basically stop this. It distracts Kidman, and then eventually, Torrie goes to slap DDP or something, hits Kidman, turns around, boom, Diamond Cutter. Easy peasy. 64 overall, good match. Afterwards, Kidman gets in Rey's face as the two start pushing and shoving each other with Torrie trying to break them up. As Rey eventually just gets up and walks off, shaking his head just in disbelief at how his partner has turned out these past few weeks since Torrie Wilson got involved. It gets a 48, which is pretty good overall. We then go into a slightly crappier segment. It gets a 33, but Norman and Hacksaw are backstage when they run into Daphne's Angels, who immediately want to start talking to them. Daphne says she's heard in the grapevine that next week these two teams are going head to head in the tag title tournament, and she wishes them luck. Hacksaw and Smiley are confused as they start to walk off, half expecting an attack, but nothing seems to come of it. We then have Booker T coming down for his tournament action match. That makes perfect sense. He comes down with a mic in hand, and he says he wasn't surprised by it last week because he always knew that Kanyon was a little punk ass. He's got himself some protection though, should they try any funny business this week, as he introduces Chronic down to ringside. So Booker T bringing down some law and order to try and help with his match coming up next with Kanyon. And their match does some business. It gets a 63. Booker T does manage to defeat Kanyon. It says after midnight interfere. I don't remember selecting that at all. Oh, it's because I put tainted win, so that'll be why. So yeah, midnight interferes apparently. And Booker T gets the win over Kanyon, who doesn't have his boys to help him out. They're both benefiting from a new move. Both great performances. Booker T advances to the next round, and afterwards he picks up the win over Kanyon. The Harris brothers try to get into the ring to get involved. Chronic get up on the other side. It's big beef time as both these teams get in the ring and start walloping on each other as the TV goes to ads, I guess. And next week, as part of the tag title tournament, it will be Chronic versus the Harris brothers in the first round of the tag title tournament. This gets a 43, pretty good. Another really good tournament match as Chris Benoit, the former US champion, defeats Kurt Hennig with the headbutt to advance. Benoit with a good performance, Hennig also with a good performance. Just a really strong match overall. Benoit does advance to the next round. As we go backstage again, Disco comes into Berlin's locker room and once again says he has some good news. They're in the tag title tournament and they have an easy first round opponent. Berlin looks happy as the Wall just looks grumpy and like that. Berlin asks, well, who are we facing? Disco says, can you believe it? They've given us some jabroni cruiserweights. And we're not going to elaborate on that because I've not decided which two cruiserweights that will be. But, yep, Berlin and Disco, the Boogie Nights, not currently called that, are seemingly getting along. It gets a 38 overall. This is a cracking promo. 75. Ric Flair comes to the ring for his match as promised by Brett last weekend. He grabs a mic and once again thanks the fans and says he'd be nothing without them. When his opponent Vampiro comes down to the ring, so it's a big opponent for Ric Flair, and he does get the win after blatantly cheating with the figure 4 figure 4 leg lock. He was penalised for being off in poor form as usual, and he was really off his game, but he still dropped a 62. The match got a 68, and Ric Flair, he gets the win, but he did cheat. So has he really changed? Has he really changed? That's the question. We then go on to our next US title tournament match as Mike Awesome does end the dream of Dustin Rhodes with the Awesome Bomb to advance to the next round. Dustin only drops a 48. His performance last week, I was tempted to give Dustin the win, but we're going to keep Mike Awesome really strong here. And Dustin, the wait continues for him to get that elusive big win under his belt. We then go into the pre-main event as DDP is with Kimberly backstage and she tries to get him out of tonight's match with Sting. And so just go again when you're not wrestling twice in one night. He tells her not to worry. That come end of tonight, he'll have that beautiful big gold around his waist once again. It only gets a 51, which is a bit disappointing. And in the main event, it gets a 67 as Sting does defeat Diamond Dallas Page with the Scorpion Death Drop to make defense number 10. DDP just by the end of the match showing a bit of tiredness. He shouldn't have taken this match on tonight, but his pride got before him, but he does fall to the champ as Sting gets the win. Sting then goes to pick up DDP, congratulate him, shake his hand when the lights go out and a familiar logo appears on screen with simply the words "You're next" underneath them as the show comes to a close with a 60 rating. We get another 70. I'm not going to complain about that. We're definitely rocking some great momentum here at this point, and we've gained another $500,000 on profit on the show. We've gained popularity once again around the world. Can only be called a success. And yes, "You're next" is the message that came up on the big screen because he's back next week, but I don't think he's actually going to be on Nitro because I don't think he's available for that. Let me just quickly check. Absences. He's back in 6 days, which I think means he can't be used to wrestle, but we can use him in an angle of some capacity. Goldberg is back next Monday night on Nitro. It's another really strong show. Raw gets an 84, and they've actually have now signed Scott Hall as well, which isn't a surprise. Let's have a look actually. So, is Kevin Nash anywhere yet? Kevin Nash is not employed, and Hulk also still not employed. That's fine. We don't want them here anymore anyway. We're putting on better shows without them. That's 2 really good Nitros back to back. I'm not going to complain at all about that. 70 rating. Great stuff. And it has led our tournament to be looking as follows. So on Nitro this next week, Booker T versus Chris Benoit and Mike Awesome versus Diamond Dallas Page will be the semi-finals of the US title tournament. I need to book the tag title tournament, which I'm going to quickly do off camera or off recording, and I'll show you it in just a second. And there it is. I've quickly put something together. So we're going to have the Cat Associates taking on the Varsity Club, Chronic versus the Harris Brothers, Daphne's Angels versus Duggan and Smiley, And Berlin and Disco's cruiserweight opponents will be the Filthy Animals. Disco just didn't mention that part to Berlin. So it will be the Filthy Animals taking on Berlin and Disco once again. And yeah, we've got some good action set for this coming Nitro. We'll probably do Booker versus Benoit as the main event. Because is Booker T a star? Yeah, Booker T is a major star here. He's on the same level as Benoit, actually. While we're here, let's have a look. Who are our major stars now? So Booker, Brett, Canyon, DDP, Goldberg, Flair, and Sting. That's not a bad little thing at all, really. Not bad at all. Stars, Billy Kidman, Mike Awesome, and Vampiro. Happy with that. Well-knowns, Arn, Berlin, Bobby Heenan, Brian Clark, Disco, Jimmy Hart, Kimberly. Hey, Kimberly's going up in popularity. Is she getting better at charisma and microphone? Yes, she is, actually. So, okay, good. So maybe she is going to be our permanent interviewer. Mike Tenay, Norman Smiley's well known. That's good. Rey Mysterio, we need to get him up. Sabu, I just forget exists. Stevie Ray still out injured, and Tony Schiavone. Stevie Ray's back in. Oh, Stevie Ray's back in 4 days, actually. Interesting. That's very interesting indeed. Money wise, as you can see, we're just still losing lots of money, but like the broadcast revenue is as good as it's ever been. And we've got one more Nitro left this month. Ticket sales are what they are. Pay-per-view revenue is what it is. Merchandise is going to be lower down, obviously, based off of the fact that we've lost some of the major stars in the company. But that's fine. It's a work in progress. We're going to do next week, the next episode I'll do next week's Nitro. And then we shall I'll skip ahead to the end of the month and we'll see what the New Japan money thing ends up doing for us. Because they've currently on 1.5 million so far. So hopefully they can just keep raking in the cash. And we can steal some of that profit. We'll probably both lose quite a lot of money at the end of the month. But then next month we should hopefully start to see a little bit of profit possibly trickle in. It's testing it out. It might be a complete disaster, it might be a huge success. We shall never really know. But we're looking okay. That's 3 really good Nitros in a row since Slamboree. We're consistent, and we're consistently good, I think, at this stage. We just wish we could get the morale better everywhere, because the morale's pretty rotten. Like Bret Hart's even annoyed. No, Bret, why are you annoyed? Let's have a look. Firing of Piper, okay. Booker T, why are you annoyed? Just the backstage atmosphere, okay. So hopefully we can just start to turn this around. We did another open forum to try and get some of the negative influence gone. It's not quite working yet, but we're getting there. We're getting there. That's the important part. But yeah, next episode we'll have the quarterfinals of the tag title tournament. We will have the semi-finals of the US title tournament, and it's going to be another good one. Hopefully, it might be a little bit lower rating just because the tag matches will probably not be as good, but I'm optimistic. Hopefully you guys are as well. That's going to do it for today's episode. Once again, I am very far ahead, so I apologise if I haven't been getting back to you in videos. I do try and reply to as many comments or all of the comments as I can and when I have time. But thanks so much for watching. Drop a like, leave a comment, hit subscribe, all that good stuff. I'll see you in a few days' time for the next episode of Nitro. Goodbye.